Felicidades, saludos, oraciones y muchas bendiciones a nuestros espectadores del mundo, quien yo, Jerusalén, estoy feliz a invitar para las discusiones sobre libros, películas y libros del audio en YouTube. Gracias por estar aquí. Today's review is on Herbert Ramsden's 1959 lesser-known publication, An Essential Guide to Modern Spanish. Now, before proceeding forward, a brief tangent to our viewers regarding the backdrop. All the books you observe were made available by the sponsors of this video, the Collectors Admiralty. The Collectors Admiralty is a project of Network for Human and Social Development, and its focus areas are cultural and social preservation. They have been active in the provision of books for library establishments in Pakistan and have so far assisted 6 schools, a seminary, and NHST itself establish libraries in their premises, as well as make typewriters and other antiquated technologies available for the general public to use. The largest amongst these is the Central Library, established in the office of Network for Human and Social Development in Rawalpindi. It contains 2,000 books as well as 6 typewriters. These include the book we are in fact reviewing in this video, and also the fact that this book is placed on top of a fully functional 1974 Yugoslav manufactured Olympia Traveler Deluxe. The typewriter will not be the subject of today's video, but perhaps will be in a future installment on this channel. Stay tuned by subscribing to our channel if you are interested. Herbert Ramsden, born in 1927 in England. Unfortunately, details pertaining to his exact date of birth and location have not been made available online, and research on the topic, specifically on these 2 aspects, have proven futile. However, we do know and can confirm that he graduated from the University of Manchester in 1948 summa cum laude in French, and 1949 also summa cum laude in Spanish. Curiously, he had initially been enrolled in 1945 for double honors in French and German, switching from German instead to Spanish. He served as a national serviceman in the infantry after graduation. To quote one of our references, by a curious irony, the new graduate, after embarking on national service in the infantry and then unsurprisingly in the intelligence corps, found himself stationed in Germany, where he rose to be second in command of his unit and reached the rank of full lieutenant, a rare accomplishment for a national serviceman. This reviewer opines that he must have been a remarkably gifted linguist considering the switch he made. There is no information provided on what prompted the switch, and should any new information crop up, we will link an addendum to the same video. Notwithstanding his achievements as an intelligence corps officer, he continued his studies on the language, having been awarded a Kemsley Travelling Scholarship. This was a common scholarship from the 40s and 50s until it slowly was decommissioned. He was awarded the scholarship through the support of his supervisor, the late Professor Joseph Walkin Rees, born 1897, passed away in 1976, who was a professor of Spanish studies in the University of Manchester at the time. This scholarship enabled him to pursue graduate studies in the University of Madrid and a semester in the University of Sorbonne. He graduated with an MA focusing on Esperanzada in 1953 and a doctorate in Romance philology in 1954. Upon returning to England in 1954, he was provided an appointment as assistant lecturer in the University of Manchester Department of Spanish Studies. He married Joyce Hall, a nurse, in Manchester in 1954 and settled down in his life of research on Spanish anthropology and linguistic emancipation. He retired from the University of Manchester as a professor of Spanish studies, having succeeded his supervisor for the post in 1959. Information pertaining to when he retired has not been forthcoming. Again, if we find further information, we will link the addendum with the information to this video. Herbert Ramsden passed away in 2011 and is succeeded by 5 children and his books, including the 1959 publication we will now review. Herbert Ramsden published An Essential Guide to Modern Spanish, Herbert Ramsden published An Essential Guide to Modern Spanish in 1959, originally through George S. Harrop and Company Limited, London and Bombay. The company ceased production in the 80s after 79 years of services rendered in the field. This book, in fact, is a 1972 reprint by the now insolvent publisher Redwood Press Limited, who continued to publish Harrop works until they found themselves shutting their doors. This foreword, pertaining to the information regarding the publishers, is in fact necessary for us to keep in mind because the book itself is very comprehensive. This reviewer in fact has used the same book to learn and revise Spanish as a foreign subject via self-study to a specific but nevertheless fruitful extent, and agrees with the late Herbert Ramsden in the necessity of an advanced resource in learning a foreign language. To quote from the foreword by the author himself, this book was written in answer to a very definite need, that of university students who offer Spanish as one of their intermediate subjects. Honor students have long been able to consult their Harmer and Norton or their Ramsay, whilst school children and more leisured learners of the language can always choose from a mass of elementary courses. But intermediate students who start with no subject of the language and who are expected within 8 months to reach a level approximately equivalent to scholarship standard at general curriculum of education advanced level, for these there has been no course available, and teachers have been obliged in their classes either to use an advanced course selectively or to use a more elementary course and supplement it with their own notes. Neither method, I believe, is very satisfactory, either for students or for teachers. Hence, the present book. Herbert Ramsden is referring to a Manual of Modern Spanish published by Louis Charles Harmer, 1902, and passed away in 1975, who wrote it in collaboration with Frederick John Norton, 1904, passed away in 1986, as well as the books A Textbook on Modern Spanish as Spoken in Castile and the Spanish American Republics, An Elementary Spanish Reader, and A Spanish Grammar by Marathon Montrose Ramsay, born 1867, passed away somewhere around 1967. Although this is a subjective date, there is no exact information on when he passed away. When compared to books published at the time which are available in Project Gutenberg, archive.org, as well as language series available in the library of our sponsor, Herbert Ramsden is indeed correct. The books published prior to this one were not always so comprehensive or even as thorough as An Essential Course in Modern Spanish. This book covers all elements of the language step by step, alphabet by alphabet, grammar by grammar, as well as providing even detailed explanation on colloquial, academic, and grammatically correct usage of idioms, adages, apophisms, phrases, and metaphors. The book even includes revision sections after every 5 chapters which illustrate all the key points from each chapter. Each chapter ends with the word list and a set of exercises whose key is provided at the end of the book. Many of the elements used in this book, in fact, are carried forward as standard practice by modern language courses and books published by the providers of these modern language courses. This book, in fact, even highlights cultural differences as expressed in languages, dialectally speaking, between Spain and the Spanish republics in South, Central, and North America. One major fault of this book, which prevents it from being recommended for purchase, is that the book does not come bundled with audio revision material. You must have a prior exposure to Spanish independent of this book, or else you are unlikely to fully gauge the phonotactics employed in the language. The reviewer, in fact, had to, independent of the book, research on phonotactics, pronunciation rules, and overall elements of Spanish before proceeding to utilize the book itself. Hence the disclaimer, specific but nevertheless fruitful extent. The book has been out of publication essentially since 1972 and is available in 2 published formats, paperback and hardcover, both available on Amazon and can be purchased second-hand. Link for purchase is provided in the description below on Amazon as well as other sites in case anyone is interested in procuring this work. This book is available in the Central Library of the Collectors Admiralty, although you are only allowed limited access. You can only read it on premises and under the supervision of staff there. These are collective items, pun fully intended. And thus issuance permissions are granted solely to senior officers and staff members of the project. The immediate question which arises is whether you should purchase this book on your own initiative, and to that we would recommend that you purchase only if you have income to spare and in case you wish for an additional resource. And with this, we conclude our review with the following observation. This book is a useful and generally efficient and far-sighted publication which is still validated and reliable today as it was when it was first published in 1959. Thank you for watching this video. We are thankful again for the Collectors Admiralty for their patronage and sponsorship, especially in lending us this book to review. More books are available in their central library. If you are interested and wish to support the effort, please be sure to also visit their Facebook page where they provide updates on activities they are currently undertaking. And with that, we mark the conclusion of this video. Take care, everyone. Adios. Hasta bueno.